Welcome to Save Room, a podcast by Double Jump Gaming News. I'm your host, Carter Welshley, and joining me today are my co-hosts,
Steven Jennis,
Kopen and Nate,
and Nate Stadler.
All right, fellas, what have we been playing lately?
Lately, I have gone back onto the nostalgia trip and been playing Transformers War for Cybertron in honor of the new movie that recently came out, Transformers 1.
Have you seen Transformers 1?
No, unfortunately. Outside a related topic, my car is broken down, so I can't go to a theater to see it.
Understandable.
Yikes.
Have you pirated it? Don't answer that on the recording. Don't answer that on the recording. We watch.
All right.
We watch movies legally here,
We watch movies legally here.
especially the
Absolutely no
movies we're
pirating is
about to
happening whatsoever.
discuss.
Absolutely, yes.
I just finished Infamous Second Son yesterday, and then PlayStation Network went down.
Oh no!
So I hopped onto the PS3 and I started playing Far Cry 2 yesterday.
Ooh. First
Uh,
impressions?
I'm loving it. I've played almost every other Far Cry game besides the first two, so I'm liking it so far. Yeah.
Nice. Nate, what about you?
I've been playing the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV a little bit.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've gotten back into it since the new expansion, and
Nice.
am currently trying to do Savage, and that is very difficult.
What do you think about the new expansion?
Very good. Fan base is divided. I think it's good, but it has flaws.
Isn't that true of all fan bases?
Especially this one.
Absolutely.
Nice. On my end, I went home last weekend and I got the opportunity to try out Astrobot on PS5.
Oh,
Yeah.
That game is a treasure.
Is
It
it
is
now?
a delight. I feel like the way I felt when I was 8 years old playing Mario Galaxy for the first time, you know? Like it's a 3D platformer that does it well and miraculously doesn't have Super Mario's face plastered all over it.
That'll do it. That'll do it.
And the soundtrack slaps. That's the other thing I have to add.
I remember
That's
from
always
the
important.
The Playroom. The music was very good in
Oh.
Playroom as well.
The Playroom music is an all-time classic. And this continues the trend. So, today, I don't know if you've read the title of this episode, but we're discussing only the best things in video game related paraphernalia, video game movies, and adaptations of video games into movies.
Oh shoot, we were supposed to read the title? Oh god.
No.
You came to class without doing the homework. So, video game movies are typically good, right?
Totally.
I don't know if I'd say
There's
that.
never been a bad video game movie.
Never.
That is what the kids like to call it cap. Video game movies, as far as I know from recent memory of what's good and what isn't, it's definitely nothing that's been released before the Sonic movie. I would say they've all been mediocre or decent. They're never like outstanding.
It's relative.
I was about to rebuttal with the Dungeons and Dragons movie, but that doesn't really count.
No.
But that movie actually is really good. I was surprised.
So, video game movies are obviously controversial.
Hit and miss.
Hit and miss, emphasis on miss. It's bolded and underlined in 20-point font. We've each selected a handful of video games. We're covering all aspects of video game movies, the good, the bad, the tangentially related to video games at all. Before we dive into our selections, I wanna poll the room. In your subjective but correct opinion, what makes a good video game movie?
I was actually thinking about this for a little bit. I think it kind of depends. For me, it really doesn't matter if it's close to the source material or not. It's more is it made with love for the original? And there's also Also, the choice of game. There are some games that legitimately don't make good video game movies. I'm gonna do a really really far poll here, and I'm gonna go for a movie that was made out of one of my favorite mobile games, mobile rhythm games of all time, which has like a 20-minute story, which is really really good, and like 3 characters. Okay, so stretch that out to a 90-minute movie, and how do you think it's gonna be?
Can you tell me the name of the mobile game?
Yep, Demo Memorial Keys. It's really bad.
It's a
and
rhythm game, people.
Yeah. Okay. The soundtrack is really good, but like they add so many unnecessary characters and scenes to stretch it out to 90 minutes, and then they try to sell NFTs of the movie. So
Oh, what?
screw
no.
Rayark.
Of
Don't
the
do my
movie?
boy
Yes.
Demo like that.
I think I agree with you, Nate, where it has to like it doesn't necessarily have to be close to the source material, but
Mhm.
as long as they can show that they care about the source material,
Oh, absolutely.
then I think, at least in my opinion, I agree that can make a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in my case, I'm somewhat similar. It depends on what material they're working with. Like, for example, of the Mario Brothers movie, the animated one, they have lore and source material of the characters and power-ups and whatnot. But the neat thing they did was kind of expand on the world, make it unique. So the one thing that for video game movies, it really depends on, is the movie following a lore story set? Is it a movie adaptation of like a prequel, or is it following step by step of the game? I think it's just more so important that you get the characters right, you get the lore right. Then with the setting, you can generally almost do everything with it, but that varies. It's a very, very
Mhm.
niche thing, if
Mhm.
you will.
Honestly, another thing I'd like to discuss is like with the second point that I made, which is what games make good movies? Because
Ooh.
obviously like games with a good emphasis on story can, but
Mhm.
also there are a lot of games without story that make like actually good movies, like the honest to god, the Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
Mhm.
Hmm.
But like, and then
Hey,
there's
hey. Sonic the Hedgehog has a story.
Okay,
Dr. Robotnik put those little animals into robots, and you have to set them free.
I mean, I suppose
That's
but-
cinema.
by technicality, but it's got 3 different story adaptations depending on how you look at it. You've got the games, you've got the 2 variations of comics with Archie and IDWs,
Oh, don't talk about
and
the
then
Archie
you've
comics.
got the movie. So like in Sonic is a perfect example of this, where it's like you take characters that people love and are able to make a unique story, even though you could tweak it to make it unique enough that it's not lore accurate.
Don't they have a TV show as well? Or
Yeah.
used to?
yeah.
No, that was
Sonic
series.
Prime.
That was on
Oh,
Prime.
Sonic Prime.
Or Sonic?
Yeah.
Was it Sonic
It
Boom?
was Sonic Prime. So that's a
Sonic-
perfect example. There's
They've
but
had
there's
a lot of
Sonic
TV
Prime,
shows.
there's Sonic Boom. They're all different.
Sonic
You know what I
Prime
mean?
was really good.
Sonic Underground.
Yes, they're all different
The
stories.
best show.
It's-
Hell yeah!
It's with, as Nate brought it up, it's a matter of what video games make good movies. And I think it's important to know that if a character beloved like Mario or Sonic, you can do a lot with that character as like story wise.
Well, let's not say you could do a lot with Mario.
You can you could do
We
enough.
will get there.
Okay, so
We
we,
will.
should
You
we
could do
get
enough.
into it?
I can go first.
You want to go first?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so we're starting
So
with
my
good.
good movie pick was the Ratchet and Clank movie. This movie is an animated movie. It's based off the first game. The one thing that makes this different from the first game is that the movie can be described as an hour and 30-minute long cutscene, realistically speaking. A lot of the cutscenes that were in the a lot of the scenes that were in the movie were cutscenes directly from the game. The one
What?
Like
thing,
straight,
yes,
ripped from
like
the game?
ripped from the game directly.
no,
Or
I
just like reanimated?
I think it's
exact?
reanimated. It could be exact
Hmm.
because there's a lot of movie scenes of which happen, cinematic scenes that happen in Ratchet and Clank that are exact with the animated movie. So I'm pretty sure it's the animated movie remade those scenes. But basically, what it's doing in Ratchet and Clank is that it's creating a whole different segment for Ratchet in terms of story. Because in the movie, it becomes a whole thing where Ratchet is becoming a hero, and I mean legitimate hero. Like you meet another cast of characters who were not in the video game originally. The only 3 characters in there, well, besides the villains, were Captain Quark, Ratchet and Clank. I don't remember the other heroes' names, but they kind of introduced like a hero squad, sort of like Space Ranger kind of thing. So there was also a segment which Ratchet was in a training room training with these unique weapons that you can usually just craft out in the game. To me, that is a good way of storytelling to connect the dots. However, I want my own complaint is that Ratchet is a bit more dorkier in the movie than he is in the game, but that's because you're controlling it as the player. But in terms of how it connects and how it's on par with the game, it's a pretty damn good movie. It's not, according to critics and whatnot, it's mediocre. But for me, personally, viewing this as someone who adores the Ratchet and Clank games, it's a pretty good movie from a story standpoint. It pretty much comes across everything that we know of while adding additional characters to expand on its lore. Because, like, you have this, in the video games, you have Captain Quark, who's like the big bad superhero, so to speak, who then becomes a villain, so to speak. Or like an anti-hero, really. Depends on how you want to view him. But then you introduce to him like a squad of a cast of other characters and aliens who are working together to try to stop this villain. So, like, that to me makes more sense. And then it also shows how much more Captain Quark's betrayal hurts. So that's one of the things I like about it, is that it kind of expands. That's kind of one thing that it does right. Some things are not like 101 on par, obviously, because video game to movie is a little different. But it has enough that makes me enjoy it.
Ratchet and Clank, is that a Xbox exclusive?
It was a PlayStation game.
PlayStation. Okay. I've never.
I think it released in
2016.
It was a PS2
No,
game,
no.
right?
I said
It
they
was
have
a
a ton
PS2
of
game.
games.
Oh, the game. I was talking. I think the movie.
No, the movie was
in
released in
2016.
16. I was looking at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Say, because I've never played any Ratchet. I've seen them, but it's never been my I've never.
Well,
bothered
it's
to
a
play
kind
it.
of a 3D platform.
Yeah, I know
which
what
was
it's
really
about.
popular with PlayStation at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but what matters is not necessarily the gameplay connecting into the movie. What matters is the movie storyline, which to me, like I said, expands on it, and it kind of makes me more interested in it. It's like I can tell you, like the basic lore that you've got this one big baddie, and Captain Quark becomes a baddie after betraying you, but it's like now he's betraying his entire group. And now there's like an established superhero group that's been supporting him and now supporting Ratchet and Lines.
So my movie is another PlayStation exclusive game. It is the Uncharted movie that came out. Oh God, was it 21, 22?
2020, I
22.
think. Wait, 22?
22 it says.
Damn.
Wow.
I thought that was
Oh my
later.
God.
I thought it was pre-COVID.
I have played Uncharted 4 and a bit of 3 and a bit of 1. So I have some good knowledge on the Uncharted series going into the movie. And I think the movie overall is just a really fun movie. It doesn't stay really connected to the source material of the games, but it does have, references and things that do happen in the games. And it feels like an Uncharted movie. Like the story given to you in the movie could be something that could happen in the game. The actors that they chose were not my
it was
personal
interesting
favorite.
This is the one with Tom Holland and
Tom
Mark
Holland
Wahlberg,
and
right?
Mark Wahlberg.
It was an interesting casting
Yeah.
choice, but I think in terms of how Tom Holland did, he kind of did a good job.
I think Tom Holland did okay. In the games, I would say he should be Nathan Drake is a little older than Tom Holland, and Sully in the games is way older than Mark Wahlberg. I think if anybody was be recast, it would be Mark Wahlberg to someone older. And then you throw Antonio Banderas in there for some spice for the main bad guy, which really helps it out. And I just think it was a really good movie, not completely connected to the Uncharted series, but connected enough. And as an independent movie, it was very good. I liked it. I've seen it multiple times. Sometimes I'll just put it on when I have nothing else to watch to just kind of have it on in the background. So
I kind of
Nice.
think that speaks for itself. If it's
Yeah.
a good enough movie that you just put it on the background, or at
Mhm.
least watch it whenever there's something not interesting.
It's like a
on TV.
comfort
absolutely.
movie. It's
Yeah.
like I know
Oh,
I've seen it multiple times. Nothing's gonna surprise me, but it's it's nice to watch. It's nice to see.
Yeah, nobody
Mhm.
can complain about comfort movies.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely not. I have my comfort movies, my comfort games. So it isn't one movie, but like a movie series with a new one coming out soon. I chose the Sonic movies.
Good choice.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
So mine's gonna be a lot more simple because it's actually been a while since I've seen them.
Mhm.
But essentially, I like how it's like the initial Sonic games didn't really have that much of a story other than, well, Dr. Robotnik trapped the animals, go save them. So they took that and basically made a story around it. They basically took the concept of Sonic and Robotnik, brought them to our world, and basically just basically said, okay, now go do something fun for an hour and a half. It's very it is not a piece of like cinematic greatness, but it is very fun, is what it is. It's like
It's extremely fun.
it knows how to have fun. That's the big thing.
It's a good family movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Oh,
oh,
yeah,
absolutely. And honestly, I actually kind of like the unique lore that they added because I think it was specifically like in the game, Sonic is just fast because he's fast. He just runs fast. But in this, there's a specific power that he has or something. And it's like that power can basically be stolen through his quills, and that's what Robotnik's trying to do. And I was like, that doesn't really fit with any of the game stuff, but I like it. It's not too out there, but it's fun enough to be good.
Mhm.
And then you have Jim Carrey in there.
Oh,
Of course he kills it.
you just let Jim Carrey do anything. and it's a good
Yeah,
movie.
He was
Listen,
like
the-
ready to quit
the-
making movies.
I was gonna say these movies are good enough to bring this
To
man
bring
out of
Jim Carrey
retirement
back
not
from
once, not
retirement.
twice, but three times.
Oh,
times.
absolutely. Okay. But there is one thing about it. I also like the success story about not just the movie, but the internet itself. Because if you remember, the initial trailers
redesign.
for the Sonic
Oh,
movie,
the
redesign.
that model looked awful, and people were complaining about it so
Travesty.
much. And then they basically said, "Okay, we hear everyone complaining about this. We're going to redo it," and then it actually looked really good.
I
Mhm.
think
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
played a big part in the success of the first movie.
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
they changed it, and people were like, they listened to us.
Yeah.
we got to
Let's go.
see what
Let's
this
go
is
see
about.
it. Let's go see it.
Yeah.
And then it turned out to actually be a
Be
good
good.
movie.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it's like, honest to God, if they stayed with that initial design, I don't think this movie series
Oh
would have
no,
been very
we
popular.
I don't even think we would have got a second one.
Do you subscribe to the conspiracy theory that the ugly Sonic model was a plant to drum up controversy
Oh,
and
no,
attention
I
around
did-
the
I did
movie?
not.
No. If you listen, our viewers at home have probably not seen the Minecraft trailer, but if they
God.
have,
Oh,
They
no,
know-
the
they know-
viewers at home will have seen the Minecraft trailer by
the
this
point
episode.
is like they've seen the Minecraft trailer. It's a time where the internet has power to speak. Like
Mhm.
if the internet was not as interested in Sonic as they are, then we would have ugly Sonic.
Yep.
But right now, it's a fight with Minecraft. But
Okay, I'm gonna hop in.
Yes.
I don't think the internet can fix the Minecraft movie.
I think it's
absolutely not.
The problem with the Minecraft movie is not like visual, it is conceptual. If the internet was going to fix the Minecraft movie, it needed to be in the writer's room the second that somebody said, what if 3 teenagers and Jason Momoa got sucked into a video game where Jack Black was just doing Jack
was
Black things?
There's also the fact that the design and costume department needed a better budget. That man is wearing a size M to a size XL.
Oh God.
It is a testament to how bad that movie is that it manages to make Jason Momoa look really like ugly and gross.
Oh,
True.
God.
Because that's a handsome man. We all saw him in
That is a handsome
Aquaman.
man.
We all saw him in Aquaman. Jason Momoa is a good-looking guy, and he's in like
a pink
an
sweatshirt.
ill-fitting pink like
in, like-
sweatshirt with like ruffles.
With ruffles. I was like, yeah, that's a whole new rant. We won't have time for it, ladies and gentlemen.
We will come back to Minecraft at least once in
Absolutely.
this process.
But
I just pull up the picture.
Oh,
and
I know.
I can't help.
I know.
I can't help.
It's
but
oh
laugh.
God, what
It's
the
so
hell?
bad.
That's
wearing-
going on screen.
He's
That's
wearing
going
like
on screen
a
in the
pink,
YouTube upload.
a pink
Yeah.
leather jacket with like a white tank top with something on it. I can't
Uh-huh.
see.
Yeah, either way,
Uh-huh.
Oscar
this is-
worthy, people.
This is going to be a bigger debate. We must continue on, Carter.
So to me, what makes a good video game movie is simply being a good movie.
Mhm.
I think you can throw lore to the wind, you can alter characterization as
Mhm.
you see fit. If the movie is good as a movie standpoint, it's a good video game movie.
Oh yeah.
And this is a philosophy I've had for a number of years. Because with a video game, you're in control. You are actively a participant in experiencing the work of art. In a movie, you are the audience member, and the movie needs to do something in order to justify your engagement rather than being a direct one-to-one translation of the games. And I think an element of that transformativeness is good, especially tying it back into the Sonic movies. I think that's why those movies shine, because they strike a really great balance of being true to the characters of Sonic and Robotnik and Knuckles, while also putting their own spin on it and adapting what is necessary to make it work in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of adapting what is necessary, my good movie is the Tetris movie. It came out last year as an Apple TV exclusive, starring Taron Egerton as Hank Rogers, the guy who brought Tetris to America. It is a heavily fictionalized account of how Tetris left the Soviet Union and got on to the Game Boy. And by that I mean it uses that sentence as the prompt to make a popcorn action movie.
What?
What?
And not in maybe action movie is the wrong popcorn like
Thriller?
espionage thriller.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that sounds
You've
awesome.
grabbed my
It's this
attention.
game developer sneaking into the Soviet Union
Mm-hmm.
to talk to Alexei Pajitnov, the developer of Tetris, who's like a Soviet programmer who's made this game in his free time. And Hank is like, over here in America, we have this thing called products, and I think you could be really good. And it's very much in that like Cold War vein of Russia is objectively and unquestionably evil.
Yeah. Yep.
As opposed
God,
to which I can't say a single thing else on for the sake of not getting political. But it's a very black and white painting of Soviet Russia. In a way that might not be accurate to real life, but is really good for the film.
Okay.
There's like a conspiracy involved about like usurping what's his name? The guy with the birthmark. He was Soviet president. He's in Epic Rap Battles of History, Rasputin versus Stalin.
Oh.
He's got
Okay. Well,
what's his name?
I have no idea.
He's a
Khrushchev?
Gorbachev. Yes.
Gorbachev, sorry, yeah.
There's a secret Soviet plot to overthrow Gorbachev by like, because the main antagonist is like one of his goons who wants to not only squash Tetris but take control of Russia for himself. The climax of the movie is this big chase to get the inventor of Tetris onto a plane to America, which involves Taron Egerton leading the Soviets to a decoy plane. It is completely fabricated. It is 100% not true, but it is really good cinema. Like it's a really fun and enjoyable movie.
Interesting.
This is like you put it on streaming, you make some popcorn, you're gonna have a good time.
It's like-
That's
You've got my attention.
I absolutely agree. It's like it doesn't matter how good a movie is. If I have a good time while watching it, I have a good time because because I will say this: watching just like a piece of art that is incredibly boring is a worse experience than ripping into a bad movie with friends.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And this could be a good movie that is absolutely off the walls insane conceptually.
It's like honestly, part of the movie going experience is how much fun you have watching it.
Yeah.
Because apparently, I don't know if you guys have heard about something. I know there was a movie that came out recently. I think it was like The Specimen or something.
What?
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure I've heard that name.
Yeah, it's like this weird like artsy like horror thriller or film that might be a little bit of like body horror stuff.
Oh, are you talking about The Substance?
Yeah, The Substance, not The
Where
Specimen.
it's
Sorry.
Oh, Zemeckis,
confused.
but if
Yeah.
it was a horror movie?
Yeah, it's like the Substance. It's like so my mother actually called me up after going out with her friend, and she said like, I have no idea what I just watched, and that movie was so boring. It's just like this. I get it because like it's getting really good reviews, and it's like people are saying it's like art, but it's also like, if it's boring, why even try?
Also, these are video game movies. We're not expecting Citizen Kane.
Yeah. Oh my god.
We're expecting better.
Unfortunately, we are expecting better.
We're not going to get it.
Unfortunately.
We're not gonna get
Unfortunately,
it.
in most cases, what we get is worse.
Mhm.
Now, we've each selected bad video game movies
Oh
to
no!
talk about.
All right. I'm gonna start with a simple one. Oddly enough, I haven't seen a lot of bad video game movies because I don't go out of my way to watch them mostly. But there was one night where a bunch of my friends got on a Discord call together on Halloween, and we watched the Silent Hill movie.
Oh, the scariest thing of all.
Yeah, that movie. Okay, so props to it. There are some very memorable like gore and body horror scenes, but I don't really know the plot of Silent Hill, so I can't really comment on the validity of it. But like some of it seemed really ridiculous, and then other times it's characters standing around an abandoned building talking, and then all of a sudden a door slams and ooh.
You've got to be kidding
Some
me.
Scooby-Doo.
There is like one memorable scene in this movie, and it is like Pyramid Head specifically killing someone in a really, really gruesome way that it gives me the heebie-jeebies every time I think about it. That is like the one like scene that is memorable in this movie. The rest is like I try to recall what it is, and it's like static. I think there's like a cult involved or something.
Fair enough.
That does sound like a not great movie.
Absolutely not. Although I think absolutely forgettable is probably going to be the least bad of all four of us.
Speaking of the least of our worries, my pick is the Super Mario Brothers movie. Now, I know what you're thinking. Carter, the Super Mario Brothers movie came out last year and was really, really good. A lot of people liked it. It had that great song. You're thinking of the wrong movie, my friend. I'm talking about Super Mario Brothers all the way back from 1993, starring Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo, and Dennis Hopper as Mario, Luigi, and Bowser, respectively. This movie, much like the Minecraft movie, is bad on a conceptual level. I watched this very recently. It is fresh in my mind, and I have a lot of hot takes on it. I was kind of crossing my fingers that it would secretly be good all along, and I could be contrarian about it on the internet. That is not the case. It is bad. The movie it goes in 4 different directions at once. It wants to be like a fantasy adventure movie. It wants to be like a cyberpunk space opera. It wants to be like a 1980s family slapstick comedy. And it also wants to be like a lore story about how the Super Mario Brothers came to be, like the true story behind the games.
Oh my
That sounds
God.
awful.
And it refuses to compromise on any of those. So what we get is Mario and Luigi and Princess Daisy.
What?
Believe me, this is the least questionable thing in the movie. We get Mario, Luigi, and Daisy from Brooklyn getting kidnapped into a portal to Dino Hatton, which is ruled by President Koopa. It's this like dystopian fascist nightmare like cyberpunk world. Ruled by dinosaurs. Ruled
What?
by humanoid dinosaurs.
I'm
seen
pretty sure I've
clips.
seen the designs of the dinosaurs.
Yeah,
Those are
it's like
horrifying.
They are
actual-
horrifying.
Actual dinosaur-looking things on like
Actual
human
dinosaurs.
bodies.
Mario and Luigi just sort of traipse around for 90 minutes. The pacing is weird. The tone of the movie is wildly inconsistent as it ping-pongs between like jovial comedy and like intense space opera drama.
What the hell?
It's really bizarre. With all of that said, and I am not suggesting anything, this movie would be really good with friends under an influence. I won't say what. You can fill that in on your own. It can be the spirit of a good time. It can be any other thing. This is a great movie if you're looking to watch a horrible movie with friends and laugh at it.
Viewers at home that
That's
are
like the best
influenced by
thing.
the glory of Christ will stay away from this movie.
Viewers at home that are influenced by the glory of Christ, turn this off in 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
Because video games are from the devil.
Sometimes that's the best thing you can do is just pick a bad movie and just start drinking.
Yeah.
Me and my friends, we watched Howard the Duck.
Ooh, that's a
If
good
you're
pick.
familiar with that, and we're drinking, it was killer.
Yep.
Just to sit there and laugh at it.
So that's my recommendation if you're getting together with friends and want to just mystery science theater a movie. Super Mario Brothers.
Right.
All right,
that-
Steven.
Now that's going the complete opposite direction for me. But my bad movie is Monster Hunter. I believe this one released in 2020. So, as a Monster Hunter fan, we're all excited, wanting to see the monsters come to life in like CGI glory. Except they only show 2 monsters. That's problem number 1. Problem number 2 is that the beginning of this movie starts off with a military patrol. They get transported to another world.
Oh.
So now they get transported to the middle of a fucking desert, the most bland desert I've ever seen in the Monster Hunter franchise. Now, granted, deserts have sand. Yes, I know. Quote the Anakin Skywalker meme all you want. The problem is that it's literally just desert. There's no rocky formations, no other sign of life. The only 2 monsters they show are Diablos and Rathalos.
Wait, they spend the whole movie in that desert?
Yes.
What?
I'm looking at pictures, and yeah, like
They
all
spend
of the,
this whole
all of
movie
the
in this desert.
screenshots.
So what happens is that the military is trying to fight these guys, thinking they're transported in the middle of the Sahara Desert. So they're trying to fight them with a tank, a rocket launcher, you name it. It doesn't work, of course, mind you. To give you an idea, apparently it was like the equivalent of throwing a massive rocket at your head. It just dazed them, so to speak.
I think depending on the size of the
Depending on
rock.
the size of the rock. But main character is the actress who did all the Resident Evil movies. She's the main one. So she's had her shots of action scenes and whatnot. But the movie then progresses and they get Monster Hunter armor. But it's like lazy Monster Hunter armor. It's not like the glorious Monster Hunter armor you see after hunting these monsters 97 times. But my biggest issue with the entire movie is that Monster Hunter doesn't have a massive plot, really. You go out there, hunt monsters. They have a small plot, which you have to hunt down the big bads. But within each hunt, you have to hunt down a monster that's causing problems. The issue is that you just threw all these characters in the desert, gave us one talking cat, gave us one expert hunter with a giant sword that I'm not even 100% sure he uses properly. And then you have them all focused on the single Rathalos, who I believe had initially killed like half the platoon through explosions of fire. That's because they were all in tanks though. So, but like, again, to me, this was an awful time. Oh, I did not like it one bit. I sat through there. I think I actually just turned off my brain half the time.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be real. It wasn't very enjoyable. Like, I understand what they're trying to do, but the minute they threw in the U.S. military, I was turned off. That's my biggest gripe. It was like, this is one of those movies that doesn't respect lore or casts.
Yeah, when you have a game they're trying to make to a movie, if it doesn't have that much of a plot, maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe it doesn't need a movie.
Yes.
And yeah, when I was looking up pictures, because for most of these, I've been looking up images if I'm not familiar with it. And I'd say half of the images right off of Google are just desert, and it's just 2 characters standing in like a white sand desert.
Yes.
And like nothing, just
That
nothing at
sounds
all.
so boring.
It was.
Like,
'Cause
let's get five
the
actors to
funny
stand
thing
in
is
front
you
of
give
a
us a
green
monster
screen.
that digs underground and another monster that flies. Like
Oh.
that's the only two monsters we're working with here. But you could have like given it more life. Rocky formations. I would have taken it if the fight happened like in the Great Canyon, for example. But like needed more life and diversity.
Maybe they didn't have the budget for that.
I don't think they had a budget for a lot of things, but exploding tanks. But yeah, that's my take on that bad movie.
All right. So, Kopen, if I remember from our planning session, you had a bit of a controversial pick among this group for this movie.
Would you call it that?
We started talking about it.
A little bit. So my bad pick is the Five Nights at Freddy's movie that came out. Was it last year?
That was last year.
Was
Coming
last
up
year.
on a year.
Coming up on a whole
Oh,
year,
no.
and they just announced a sequel. I saw for
Yes.
next year.
Mm-hmm.
I did watch it. I think it was like the week after it came out. I was up in Platteville visiting my buddy in college, and they had a little like movie room, so we plugged in his PlayStation and watched it on a big screen.
Ooh.
And it was awful. I
I'm shocked.
really, I've played some of the games. I've played, I think, the first 3, so I understand a little bit of the lore. And this movie kind of more focused on the first game because that's the most popular one. But I just don't think it delivered. It and you threw Josh Hutcherson in there, which is someone we haven't seen for a long time. I like Josh Hutcherson.
Yeah.
He's great.
I'm still thinking about the whistle meme from last year.
That brought
Yeah.
that. It brought that. He was just half asleep the whole movie.
Mm.
He literally
true.
a good amount of the
Literally.
movie is just him in dream sequences or asleep, which I don't have a problem with if it moves the story along. But like half of those dream sequences that take up a good portion of the movie are just the same thing.
Yes.
It's just moving the story like an inch each time, but we see it like 5 times of him falling
Yeah,
asleep.
I remember that.
It just upset me.
Mhm.
I believe I said it is the most average movie ever. I said
Oh,
it's just
that
like
Honest,
a 5 out of 10 of a
Honestly,
solid 5.
honestly, like I think my friend, I think my friends who went to go see it. It said it the best. It is the best 6 out of 10 movie you will ever see. It is. I will say it is like it is very clearly trying to be into something, and it's fun, but also it's like not a good movie. Or at the very least, it's not an amazing movie.
Mm.
Yeah.
It is okay, but also it's very fun.
Yes.
I believe it's fun in parts, yes. I will probably watch the second one just because, I don't like hate movies. Even if a movie is bad, I'll still give it a shot just to give my own opinion on it because,
Mhm.
I can't give an opinion on something I haven't seen.
Yeah.
But it's just the other thing too is the existence of Willy's Wonderland
True.
that beat
Oh
this
my
that beat this to the punch by multiple years.
my favorite
Wow.
movie.
I believe when did Willy's come out? I think-
2020.
Was it 20 or was it 19?
I think it's either 2020 or 2021.
It was 21. Okay.
It's
So this
21.
beat this to the punch by 2 years.
If you haven't seen Willy's Wonderland, go see Willy's Wonderland. It's
Yeah.
another great movie to watch with other people.
Yes.
I remember watching this in sort of a similar way. We all pitched in like $3 to buy it or like to
Oh.
rent it on whatever service it was when it like just came out. It just does it so much better and so much more violent.
Mhm.
It's Five Nights at Freddy's, the movie, if it was rated R
and
and had Nicolas Cage in it.
had
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage in it.
Yes.
That
that's a
doesn't
big thing.
say
That
a word.
best movie
Interesting.
ever made.
Nicolas Cage will take any movie you give him. Doesn't matter.
My opinion on the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, and I'm so glad you brought this movie up because I have said this to every person I know, and now I get to say it to you in a captive setting.
Oh no.
I think the movie had one of the best first hours in a video game movie. From 000 to 100 on that time clock, it does a really good job of building tension and establishing a mood. I think it does really good. I was really into the plot. And then they just had to make the animatronics good guys all along.
Yeah.
And all of the tension in the movie pops.
Yes.
and it spends
Well-
most of the back half of its second act and beginning of its third trying to invent a reason for the climax to happen. And when it finally does, it feels contrived and confusing.
They were literally making like a blanket fort with
Yeah.
the animatronics that kill children.
Well, here's the thing: that the animatronics are children themselves as well.
Yes, yeah.
So like, but like the whole plot ends up revolving around to the point where a single dude is a psychopath. with no
Oh,
history
I
of
almost
violence.
forgot Matthew Lillard. Yeah.
Matthew
Yeah.
Lillard's in the movie.
I
I
almost
can't
completely
believe Shaggy
forgot.
would do these to the kids.
Which my other thing about this movie is that if you knew anything about Five Nights at Freddy's at all going in, or if you saw any of the press coverage, you would have seen that Matthew Lillard is playing William Afton,
That-
who is established as the series bad guy in
Yeah.
every piece of like promotional material for the movie. So you know the big twist of Act 3 when he takes off the mask and
Mhm.
it's revealed that it's Matthew
It
Lillard all
does-
along.
They kind of ruined the movie before it even came out.
Yeah.
Which, you know,
really.
is okay because then you still get to like experience how it comes to that. But yeah, when
But
it
still.
comes to the big mask off moment, it's like,
Mhm.
oh, I knew that was him. But yeah, I just think it's very average. I will see the second one because I said I'll give everything a chance, but I could not.
One point in the movie's favor, it does have a cameo from Matt Pat. Say what you will.
Mhm.
Say what you will about the Sonic movies.
Mhm.
They don't have a cameo from Matt Pat.
That's true.
Okay. And Matt Pat does get to say it's just a theory.
That's true.
I know.
The cheesiest
true.
line.
That was like
I-
the best moment of the movie.
I stood up and I started applauding.
Absolute
I started pointing at the
10 out of
screen.
10.
I started crying, shed a tear.
Yeah, shed a tear. That's amazingness.
So, we've talked about the good. We've talked about the bad. Now we're going to talk about the buggy, which is a categorization we've given to a series of movies that aren't direct adaptations of video games, rather are more so about video games or are inspired by like the concept of video games.
Mhm. So my pick for this was a movie that I watched it as a kid. You probably heard of it. It's called Pixels.
Ooh, with
Pix-
Adam Sandler?
Yes. Okay. So Pixels is just like dumb fun, but also dumb is in uppercase, fun is in lowercase.
I think
Even-
he just described every Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah. Okay.
99%.
Pac-Man's a bad guy.
So it's like aliens are like taking in the form of games and trying to challenge humans to basically like try to get their worth. And it's like you could take the video games out of the movie and it would basically be the same thing. And then also like I'm pretty sure or like near the end is like Cubert or is like one of their is like one of the companions or something.
Yeah, they keep them.
It's like I think they keep him, and then someone,
That's
and
this
then it
one.
turns into, and then he turns into a woman, and and then they fall in love with one of the side characters.
It's Kevin James, right?
No,
I'm pretty
it's Josh Gad.
It's Josh
Josh
Gad.
Gad.
The movie ends, they have a kid together. Josh
They have
Gad
three
and
kids,
Oh my
three
God, you're
kids,
right.
Josh Gad and Cubert have 3 children together.
and they're all Cubert.
And they're all Cuberts.
Oh, I forgot about this.
And I think that's all you need to hear about the movie to understand its quality.
See,
Moving on.
The Five Nights at Freddy's movie
How
would have been good
fascinating.
if Josh Gad and Cubert had 3
No,
kids.
no.
I feel like Adam Sandler called in like all the favors
Oh,
for this
God,
movie. He
yeah.
got Kevin James. He got Josh Gad. He got Peter Dinklage is in this
I
movie.
forgot Peter Dinklage.
He got
was
Dan
in-
Aykroyd. Yeah, Peter Dinklage.
Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah, he plays. It's like at the very beginning. He's in it for like 2 minutes.
Oh boy.
But Peter Dinklage is suggested to get with Serena Williams and Martha Stewart
That's
And-
insane.
Good for him.
at the
Yeah.
end.
Isn't he
Yeah.
playing like a Billy Mitchell type character?
Maybe.
Yeah, he plays
memory
like
serves.
he was like arrested in jail
Yeah.
for like
Just-
cheating.
Billy
Yeah.
Mitchell.
All right.
Mine is Free Guy. I picked as Buggy's Free Guy. So this is a movie that's starring Ryan Reynolds. Well, to summarize, Ryan Reynolds in this world is an NPC, and around him, these chaotic things are happening, being done by the quote unquote players. What essentially ends up happening is almost Matrix comedy, to the point where it's like the world he's living in is not real, but I can make the things in there real. Because then it gets to a point where I'm pretty sure that they start being able to hack in things like guns and whatnot. And of course, you throw in the Ryan Reynolds humor and innuendos and whatnot, and you've got yourself a Ryan Reynolds movie. To me, this was fine. There were some moments that were funny, but in terms of like how it's adapting to the video games, it's a little weird. Like, I don't want my NPCs having a casual conversation while I'm robbing a bank, and you know what I mean? Like, these guys like, oh, hey, how's your day type of deal. But then it jumps up to a point where there's like a plot where this world's about to end, and it becomes like Matrix style, where it's like what's real isn't real.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, to me, it's like one of those movies is like, I see what you were trying to do, but it's a fine movie.
I think this is another like dumb fun.
It's a dumb fun.
You can turn your brain off and still enjoy this a lot.
It's a dumb fun movie with quite a bit of action in it, but it's not like grand video game movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I said, I see the concept what they're going for, but you could just take Ryan Reynolds and put in Neo, and you get the Matrix.
I'm a big Taika Waititi fan as well, and I think he did really good in this.
Oh, he was in that?
Yeah, he plays like the evil game developer.
Maybe I should check it out. I really like Taika Waititi.
It's a fine movie. I won't say it's like bad. It's fine, but it's definitely buggy.
So my example is another throwback all the way back to 1989. I'm talking about The Wizard. The Wizard is a movie about a kid who is deeply traumatized and nonverbal, but is a savant at playing video games and has to go on a road trip with his older brother and some girl they pick up at a gas station to play in a video game tournament. I saw this movie when I was like 7, and I thought it was really cool. And then I looked into it again for this episode. It was controversial upon release. Like, I saw it described as an exploitation film, which I would not think to describe this movie. The idea was, the genesis of this movie, pun intended, is that due to like chip shortages, Nintendo had to delay Super Mario Bros. 3 by a year in the United States of America, and thought of the idea of using this time to promote the game in a major way. At the same time, a film executive, I think from Universal, saw the opportunity to capitalize on the popularity of Nintendo in America and pitched the idea of this like movie about a video game competition to Nintendo, and Nintendo signed on. And in the climax of the movie, they reveal the final game of the challenge to determine the championship is Super Mario Bros. 3. And it's the first time anybody outside of Japan saw gameplay of Mario 3. Very interesting piece of trivia. Controversially received at launch, became a cult classic over time. I have fond memories of it. So that's my pick.
All right. Finally, I have Ready Player One. I remember when this came out, but I never saw it. I think I saw it like years after it came out finally. And I think this is a really good movie. It kind of takes almost the Free Guy, or I guess this was before Free Guy, where it's like there's this alternate world that the characters live in because the real world they live in sucks. So it's like super augmented reality, like VR headset, and like they have suits that let them feel like when they get shot in the game, and everyone spends so much money on this stuff so they can not live their crappy lives. It just is a really, again, fun movie. It's full of references that, again, have you pointing at the screen and being like, I know that thing. Yeah, I think it is just it's a really heartfelt story too. And I don't know if there's anyone really super famous that was in it initially. I can't think.
What do you mean? You got the Iron Giant right there.
Okay, but like, I mean people.
In terms of actors, I don't know either.
I know Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg?
Yeah, he plays the curator at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the most famous person attached to this movie was its director, a little unknown filmmaker by the name of Steven Spielberg.
Oh, I completely forgot. Oh, my goodness.
He did make the movie, did he?
He directed it.
Interesting.
I forgot. Yeah, now that makes a lot more sense. This is definitely a Spielberg-esque film.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there's so many things, and it's about like this, again, an evil game company, It's very similar to Free Guy now that I'm thinking about it. Evil game company that wants to like destroy everything and like make as much money as possible from the players. And the creator of this world they live in left like a treasure to like own the game and everything for it, whoever can like solve these 3 keys, and they haven't been solved, but then the main character solves one of them, and then everyone's in a race to get these 3 keys to own the game. And the story is really good, and they go all over the place. There's action, there's racing, there's a little bit of romance. it really is an overall.
So it's Spy Kids 3D is what you're telling me.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I guess. Oh, you could lump Spy Kids 3D
Does that
into a
count
video
as
game.
a video game movie?
They do play video
Technically,
games.
yes
I'll
and no.
allow it.
It's similar,
allow
but that's a different conversation.
All right.
Yeah.
I think we're out of
I
time.
think that just about does it for tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for joining us on Save Room. The next time you hear from us, we'll be getting into the spooky season with a video game monster mash, where we'll each be selecting a handful of monsters and horror game icons and pitting them against each other to see who comes out triumphant. Until then, make sure to follow us in all the relevant places. Check out our website at doublejumpgamingnews.org. For all of us here at Double Jump Gaming News, I've been Carter Welshly, and I hope you have a great day.